Hello, students of world history. Today is the end of Unit 6. It's Unit 6, Part 5. This is the Mughal Empire in India. And, we've talked about India from the very beginning of this class all the way up to this point in time. And then we will drop India for a while and then pick it up again towards the very end of the year and talk much more about current events or 20th century events in India. The early empire of the Mughal Empire begins with a guy by the name of Babur, and Babur begins taking over or creating this Mughal Empire by taking over a sultanate, a territory controlled by a sultan, somebody who's in charge, near the town or the city of Delhi. And so this happens in the 1520s. It's a bit later than what we talked about with the Ottoman Empire, but it's kind of similar in some ways because, it's one guy who is using gunpowder in order to expand his territories. And so Babur is able to create a smaller territory, but his grandson then, Akbar, the guy who's ruling in the mid-16th century, is using cannons in particular to conquer all of northern India. We've seen people conquer northern India before in a very similar way, using brilliant military strategies, very good leaders. Akbar is, once again, like some of the Ottoman rulers, wise and tolerant, kind once they take over a place. It seems to me that people who conquer, have to make a decision. Are they going to be nice? Or are they going to be nasty? Either way, you can rule over a place, but we tend to like the guys who are nice and tolerant. Well, Akbar is tolerant and it allows a kind of cultural flowering to happen. He's promoting cultural blending and religious tolerance. There are basically three different kinds of religions on the Indian subcontinent. Akbar, like Babur, is Muslim, but lets other religions freely practice their faiths. The two other main faiths at this point in time in the Indian subcontinent are Hinduism. Buddhism is basically gone, but there is another faith called Sikhism. The Sikh people are a little bit different. It's kind of it's a really quite interesting system of faith, and the people who are Sikhs are really quite readily identifiable. They wear turbans, for example. But under Akbar, you have this blending of cultures that creates a couple of different languages. One is Hindi, which is a language mostly spoken by Hindu people, and then also Urdu, which is the language which is spoken by the Muslim people. And even today, we have a couple of different states that were created much later out of the Indian subcontinent. We have India, where Hindi is a main language there, and then Urdu is the language of Pakistan, a Muslim state. Now, Akbar governs, you've seen this kind of thing before. He governs through a bureaucracy. It's a diverse bureaucracy, so all kinds of different people are working for him. That's nice to allow, non-Muslims to have a chance at success by being part of the bureaucracy. He has a fair and an affordable tax system where he is taxing people, to some ability for them to pay, and not burdening them with taxes, which is something that usually causes people to rise up and try to overthrow him. Now, he has some controversial land policies, trying to. I think what he was trying to do is take from the larger landowners and give to the smaller landholders. Larger landholders, of course, don't like that very much, and usually those attempts fail. He also allows or promotes arts and literature to flourish. He's kind of like Suleiman in the Ottoman Empire, if you want to think about it that way. And you can see some artwork actually there that really looks quite nice. Allowing people to write what they want to write, and then people to read what they want to read, and look at beautiful things is really a nice part of Akbar's reign. Akbar's successors include people like Jahangir, who ruled through his powerful wife, Nur Jahan. Sadly, though, not quite as tolerant as Akbar was, and some conflicts arose between the Muslims and the Sikhs. Like I said, the Sikhs are kind of like Hindus in a way, and I guess Jahangir and Nur Jahan were persecuting the Sikhs to some extent, and this creates problems. Shah Jahan, the next ruler, kept power kind of like what they did way back with the Arthasastra, if you remember that, by keeping power through political assassinations. Um, Shah Jahan, though, is really most famous for his love for one of his wives, Mumtaz Mahal. And when Mumtaz Mahal passed away, he created this enormous tomb for her. And you can see it there. You've probably seen this before. This is known as the Taj Mahal. And he's doing this because he loves this woman so much and because he's the ruler and he was his wife and favorite wife and all that kind of thing. But if you spend crazy amounts of money taken from poor people in taxes, well, they're not going to like that very much. And during this period of time when he's having this thing built, there was a famine going on. So people already were economically desperate. So this makes people miserable, of course. And he doesn't get overthrown or anything like that, but people really hate him because of it. Nowadays, though, it's a lovely place to go and visit. I think it's probably the number one tourist site in India at this point in time. Aurangzeb is the last guy we want to talk about. This is Shah Jahan's son, and he rules from 1658 to 1707. He's a brilliant conqueror too, and expands the empire really to its greatest land size. So once again, kind of like Suleiman in the sense of being a great conqueror. Sadly, though, Aurangzeb is not tolerant of other cultures or non-Islamic religions, and he's especially harsh on the Hindus, and the Hindus are really a majority of the people. This is obviously kind of a bad thing to do, is to try to control people harshly. You could get along with them, but he doesn't. And because of that, both the Sikhs and the Hindus rise up against him. And they're able to exploit some of his weaknesses after he's conquered some places. The Sikhs and the Hindus are able to carve out separate states within the Indian subcontinent. You know, kind of the beginning of a splintering of the Indian subcontinent that even gets more diverse or more splintered because Aurangzeb wants to trade with people from Europe, or he allows people from Europe to gain a foothold in on the Indian subcontinent in the port of Bombay, which Britain in particular is going to exploit. Britain is going to take over Bombay, and then they're going to start to interfere with Indian politics, and they're going to be setting up one state against another. And within a period of a couple of hundred years, Britain, European country, is going to be able to take over all of India and then control India all the way up into the mid 20th century. Well, I hope I gave you what you needed for your EQs today. I'd like you to take the EQ, or I'd like you to take the lecture check or quiz on both the Ottoman Empire and then also the Mughal Empire. Thanks so much. Have a great day, and good luck on the final exam.